My name is Maviah Khan, and my major is culinary arts at Drexel. I'm going to be graduating in 2025, and I grew up in Philadelphia. I grew up in Lower Merion. When I first came to Drexel, I was a business major. I was going to study real estate management and development, and so after a year, I did it. I didn't really like it. I didn't really know what to do, and so I finally switched majors, and I realized that I had a passion for culinary. At the beginning, I thought the program just had like a base offering, I would just learn techniques, I would learn different like cutting skills, and I would just learn recipes. And then I got into the program and I realized how deep it actually goes and how many connections there really are throughout my program. All of my advisors and my professors have been extremely helpful. Two of the leaders in my program, Jonathan Deutsch and Rosemary Trout, are probably some of the most deeply connected people in this industry that I've met so far. And they know everyone, they know everything, they know all the ins and outs of this industry, and they've been extremely helpful. And so they've showed me that you can either do a restaurant job like everybody else, or you could go do a food product development course and learn the different ways that you can take on a career in that aspect of it. Or you could take a food science route and become like a chemist for a different company and develop food for them as well. So growing up, I used to have a lot of eating problems. And so I used to, one, just not eat that much, or I just was very picky. And so when I was about 11 or 12, I started cooking. And I never looked at it as like a job. I'd never looked at it as like a profession I could take on. It was just more so like a passion. I would just go home and I would just cook for hours, and it was just fun. And then after I had realized business wasn't going to work out, I sat down and I just tried to look at myself, and I was like, all right, what is it that I enjoy doing? What is something that I really like to do every day, that I could do every day? And so cooking was what I ended up landing on, and I'm very happy with my decision. But there's so many different avenues that you can take, and it's not just very straightforward and just food, and that's been extremely helpful. Right off the bat, the food in Philadelphia is amazing. It's like, I don't think it gets appreciated as much as it really is, just because of how much is going on and how often it's changing. But the food, just learning all the different techniques that all these different chefs will go through and all these different awards that they'll win, it's pretty mind-blowing. And there's different areas, like Fishtown right now is one of the top like restaurant industries like in the country probably. Rittenhouse Square has restaurants that have been there for tens of 20, maybe 30 years, and they've just been running really strong. And there's a lot of different hospitality groups as well that are really just amazing. And so Philadelphia has been extremely helpful in that aspect of it. So related to my major, I've had two different jobs. Both of them were in my Lower Merion area, and they were both food related, and I helped like cater a bunch of different services, and it was just like a regular like restaurant job basically. But at Drexel, we have a food lab, and that food lab helps develop different products for different companies. So they'll come to us, and we'll develop like a contract with them, and we'll go through and we'll develop different recipes, whether they need like jerky or whether they need something like a savory Pop-Tart or like something. And we'll go through and we'll help like experiment, and all day long we'll just try to banter and figure out what it is that we could do. I want to say it was during the summer semester, if it was during the fall semester, but we had taken a Wagyu course, and it was one of the first courses that was ever offered in the US, strictly off of the base of Wagyu. And the teachers that were from, like that taught that course, all of them were from Japan. So we had a translator that was with us that would speak for, they would say everything that they needed to say, and then we would have a translator that would tell us everything that we needed to know. And it was probably one of the most eye-opening experiences I've ever had, because they were showing tens of thousands of dollars worth of product, and they were just showing how you can develop it into a whole different recipe and how you can actually make it profitable. A lot of the practices that, at least in the industry, it's either you get food from Cisco or you get food from Baldor, and it's not very sustainable, it's not very healthy. So when I did get to Drexel and I realized that we have a garden that literally runs year-round, I was pretty shocked, and I thought they were lying. And then I went, and it's right downstairs, and you can learn a lot about not only gardening, but about food and how it actually translates to the plate. And that was probably one of the most eye-opening things I had. And I used to think it was like whatever. It's like you can make any product taste good, and it's a lot deeper than that. And you have to really spend the time and spend the effort to actually care. And a lot of my professors helped me understand that. And so one of the main professors that teaches that course is Charles Zaccardi, and he knows everything about gardening, and it is one of the most like interesting courses you could probably take at Drexel, I would say. And I think it's open to all majors as well, so I always recommend that to people. My cultural background is Pakistani. My parents grew up in Pakistan. They moved here when they were young, and I guess I would be a first generation then. And I had a lot of different cultural foods growing up, and so when I ended up coming to culinary and I started learning all the basic techniques, whether it was French cooking or Italian cooking, my whole idea and my concept was to try and meld together that with my own culture of food, because Pakistani food is very, like, to the point. It's very not simple, but it's just, you don't really leave the parameters of like the recipe that you're following. And so my whole idea was to try to connect all those different things that I've learned in school and try to make it so that it has my own flair and my own touch to it. And so if you eat it, you'll know it's like, this is something different, and it's not something that you've had before. And so that's one of the things that I've tried to develop. And so we've done like a bunch of different pasta courses, and my whole goal was to try and make them as culturally diverse as I possibly could, picking up from different South Asian flavors, different flavors in like Asia, and I've really enjoyed doing that because I haven't seen it and anyone else do it, and so it's been very cool. If you're around other people that have the same mindset as you and they all want to grow and they all have different ideas and different values and different places that they want to go, it's extremely beneficial. It's like if you're on a sports team and they keep losing, nobody wants to actually keep playing and be on that sports team. If you're with a group of people and they all have the same mindset as you, the possibilities are basically endless. You can keep going on and on all day long, just developing recipes, experimenting, just in the kitchen, just doing whatever it is that you would like to do. And so that's probably been the most beneficial.